Train the muscles, not the joints.
So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about rep cadence. How long should you do a rep for? Like how many seconds down, how many seconds up? Should you do slow reps or fast reps? And I also am going to show you some footage here from the first day training at Murf's gym in Chilliwack, because I just moved out to a new location now, so I travel about 25 minutes in order to get to this gym. So I'll be training at this gym about 3 or 4 days a week, along with training at home for a few days as well. So you guys will be getting some videos with different types of footage, some home gym stuff, some in the gym stuff, and then some outside talking videos in nature and all that. So yeah, lots of different stuff coming your way.
So here I am at Murf's gym, and yeah, I just successfully moved, but my diet has been shit for the last couple days just because we don't have a, I gotta find out where the butcher is and start getting stuff cooked and all this kind of stuff. So basically everything is kind of all over the place, right? So I will prevail though. Take me a few days and then I'll find out where everything is, get the lay of the land, and I can start getting into that pattern of the diet and eating properly, right? So going to 275 on the bench. I'll probably move up in weight. We'll see what happens. I'm just trying to get used to this new bench. I'm used to benches being off kilter or off balance. So I like this bar here. The only thing I don't like is because the knurling is so wide, it's hard for me to kind of get a bead on how wide my grip should be. So it takes a little bit of adjustments and getting used to, right?
For purposes of full disclosure, there are different bars in this gym. There's so many bars. There's probably about 10 or 15 different bars. And some of the bars actually do have the knurling in the right spot and stuff. But of course, whenever you're training in a new gym, you don't know where these bars are, or you don't know which bars are what. And you have to experiment with the different pieces of equipment to see which one works for you or what you like the most. And at the time of making this video, I've done about 3 or 4 workouts in Murf's gym, and I'm extremely impressed with the equipment. It's unbelievable.
I don't get the width yet. Let me get the width down. Okay. Pitching button. This isn't a gym, it's a golf course. It's a golf course.
So in case you're wondering, that was the owner of the gym. His name is Kyle Murphy. He's the one that owns Murf's gym, and he's a great guy. And that was a good burn. That was good. Touche, Kyle. Touche. Okay, well, I'll get you back. Don't worry. I can see that there's going to be a lot of burns going back and forth in the videos that are coming in the future. So stay tuned, guys, because I think it's going to be a frickin' forest fire in that gym. There's going to be a lot of burning going on. So anyways, so let's get back on track here. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm doing some bench presses like usual. I mean, you guys are always watching me do my chest workouts because they're the most fun for me to film. I film my leg workouts too. I just did a leg workout in the gym there too today, and I used the Smith machine for some one-legged squats, so it's really nice to be able to use that machine. I just loved it, so it was great. So I got some really good footage for you guys coming pretty soon here. As far as rep cadence, let's get back to the subject at hand. A lot of guys will talk about slow reps, like doing 3 seconds down and 2 seconds up, or 3 seconds down and or 4 seconds down, whatever. I mean, you can do super slow reps and you can do faster reps. But one thing I notice is that when I go too slow, when I do slow reps, I will hit different muscle groups than if I do the reps faster. It seems like some muscle groups that are more fast twitch dominated will get activated from faster rep speeds, and of course the faster you go in your reps, the more dangerous it is. So you don't want to go too fast, especially in the lowering portion, the eccentric portion of the movement. You want to make sure that as you get heavier, as you start to work in lower rep ranges, like such as 5 or 10 or even 15 reps in some cases, you want to make sure that you lower the weight a little bit slower than you would, say, if you're using a lighter weight that you can get 30 or 40 reps in. So that's like a general rule, but the heavier weight you go, the less momentum you want to add to the movement for sure. But that doesn't mean that you don't want to accelerate the weight, because by exploding at least a little bit, I mean, you don't have to explode like as fast as possible, but you want to basically not be going super slow so that you're almost isometrically contracting on the way up. And when you are accelerating the weight, you are going to be activating the fast twitch fibers more so than the endurance fibers, and fast twitch fibers are more responsible for strength and massive amounts of size. Okay, so one of the things that I found is that when I go too slow, then the whole movement becomes more isometric, basically almost like just flexing. And there's not as much muscle damage that happens from that. And I find also that certain body parts start to take over. So during bench presses, when I was doing super slow reps, like 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up, I was noticing that my front delts were getting a massive burn and a massive pump, but my chest wasn't really getting activated. So I started to notice that rep speed can also influence which muscles are taking over in the movement. So you may notice that when you're doing slow reps for an exercise, it may actually work against your goals because you might want to hit a different muscle group than what's being activated from the slow rep. So that doesn't mean that there isn't a use for slower reps. Sometimes you want to activate different fibers. Sometimes you want to activate the stabilizers as well, because once you're going really slow, that forces you to be more accountable to your groove. You're not using momentum in order to find the groove, or you're not bouncing off the bottom. You are basically making sure you have full control of the weight at all times. So this can also have its use, but I find as a general rule, I tend to like a medium type speed for a rep, if not a faster rep in some cases, such as the bent over row that I'm doing right now. Bicep curls, it's also the same. With bicep curls, I find that if I go too slow, sometimes certain parts of my bicep do not get activated, and sometimes my forearm actually gets activated much more so. So this will be different depending on the person.
This bar's like one of my ex-girlfriends, just holds on, it doesn't want to let go.
But the thing is, you want to make sure that you're doing the rep speed that is helping you achieve your goal. I think another factor that comes into play is the elastic energy that's in the muscle when it's in a stretched state. And I find that when you're doing a little bit of a faster rep speed, you start to harness some more of that elastic energy, and therefore you can lift heavier weight and stimulate more growth. Now, of course, you have to find the balance in this, right? Everything's balanced, Danielson, balance. But at the same time, if you can use this energy properly, it can assist you with lifting more poundages without getting injured, okay? Because if you're doing too heavy and too fast, of course, that's a recipe for disaster. But ultimately, if you do the right rep speed for you, which is medium for me, and what I mean by medium is a medium speed with medium weight. So about 1 second to 2 seconds on the way down to 1 second on the way up.
Finished some chest and back. First workout in a couple days, but not eating that well, not sleeping that well, just because of the move and everything. So I'm getting adjusted right now. So this is my first workout at Murf's gym in Chilliwack, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of pumping movements for some shoulders, tris and bis, and I might do something for legs, a little bit of that too, just to get the blood going. It's kind of how I get back into the swing of things when I've had a few days of being off the diet or a few days of being off training and all that.
Now, how I adjust the rep speed when I move up heavier in weight is that I start to slow it down on the way down. The eccentric part of the portion is the most important thing, okay? So when you're using super heavy weights, so you're only getting 5 or 6 reps or 7 reps, 8 reps, even 10, you wanna make sure that you're controlling the weight on the way down. So I may take about 2 seconds to come down and then about 1 second on the way up, 1.5 seconds maybe. Just depends on, how fast you can accelerate the weight. You don't have to explode through the whole movement. You wanna be in control the whole time, but you want to make sure that you're not getting stuck at any one point. So I find smooth pumping type movements work really well. It's just that on the lowering portion, you have to be careful. So make sure with that rep speed, it's okay to slow it down a bit. It doesn't have to be super slow though. You don't have to be doing 4 or 5 seconds on the way down. I find guys are going way too low. 2 seconds is more than enough. I find a cadence of 1,000, 2,000 is usually more than enough. Now, of course, this will depend on the movement because some movements, your body is traveling a much further distance, okay? So for deadlifts or squats, you may need an extra half a second or something, or maybe a full second, depending on how tall you are, how much weight you're doing, and how deep you're going. Sometimes if you're doing ass to the grass squats, sometimes 2.5 seconds on the way down might be more of a reasonable cadence, but I think you get my gist. It's a matter of just being under control. You're not bouncing off the bottom. You're making sure that you're having control over the weight, but at the same time, you're not stopping. You're not stopping that movement. You want to be constantly moving the whole time. I find if you're just stopping in the middle of the movement, that is a technique, but overall, I find it activates more of the slow twitch fibers if I just do isometric type contractions. And like I said, there can be a use for that, but at the same time, I find I get the most results if I keep the momentum going, if I keep the exercise moving along and I start to do medium to faster type movements, because I am trying to hit those fast twitch fibers. And there are some studies that support this, where basically when you explode with weight and you do, power type movements where you're basically using strength plus speed, this does help hit the fast twitch fibers. You just want to be careful on lowering, that's all. You just want to be careful on lowering the weight. If you're lowering it too fast, you will tear something or pull something, so you got to be careful with that. Now, a different thing to consider is that different exercises will benefit from different rep speeds. You may notice that when you're doing certain isolation movements, that going slow in the rep may cause not as much development, or you may actually hit totally different muscle groups than doing a faster rep. And this is really prevalent in the side lateral raise. If I do a side lateral raise and I try to go super slow, I'll notice that I'll engage a lot more of my neck, and it'll hit more of my supraspinatus, or the muscles that are close right into the joint, but I'm not actually hitting the belly of my delt that much. It seems like the belly of my delt is not getting the same type of pump or the same type of pull that I get from a bit of a faster rep. So you have to experiment with this. You have to take each exercise and find out what the perfect rep speed is for you, where you feel the most amount of stretch and damage in that muscle. You get the most soreness and the most tightness the next day, and you notice the most development over time, of course, because that's what this whole game is about. It's about developing the muscle. And I notice sometimes with isolation movements like this tricep extension, sometimes I can benefit from a French curl. I can benefit with slower reps and faster reps. I find that I hit just different heads of the muscle depending on which speed I'm going. So again, this is going to be different for each person, but I do notice that when I was doing bench presses or when I'm doing lat pull downs, if I start to go too slow in the movement, I will not hit the chest or the back as well as if I go a little bit faster or at a medium speed. So this is kind of an interesting thing, because I tried really slow speeds when it comes down to a bent over row, but I found because of the counterbalancing involved and because of just the dynamics of balancing that weight in free weights, it seemed like I benefited a lot more from using a little bit of that elastic energy and a little bit of that momentum to get that extra squeeze at the top. So sometimes momentum can work for you. Sometimes it can work for you. It's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it can actually assist you with hitting a deeper level of development in a muscle. So I hope this video helps you find the right rep speed for your workouts and for your individual exercises. And thanks a lot for watching, and make sure you share my stuff if you can. I don't know, maybe you don't know how to share stuff. It's okay. If you can't share my stuff, that's all right too. But if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com and take care for now.